Welcome back everybody to another episode of our Let's Play survival series. I am currently at our slime farm putting in the final blocks to our different spawning platforms which we started in the last episode. This has been by far the grindiest part of this entire project, but we can now call it complete and move on to the aesthetics of this giant room. Now the way we are going to be decorating this massive part of the room is by using the classic fog effect, which you guys have probably seen in other videos. Now this fog effect, for those of you that don't know, involves using different layers of stained glass one over the other, and by looking down you get this fantastic fog effect, which I think is gonna suit this room perfectly. But before we can do that, we need to start by cleaning off the walls because currently it is pretty messy. We have patches of diorite and andesite. Much better. And we're ready to build, and this block appears to be going bananas up there. Anyway, I have been doing some sand gathering and still have a lot more to do because all this glass equates to a double chest full up of black glass, and not only do we have to collect the sand, but we also need to collect all the black dye. As you can see, I have gathered up a lot of black glass, and this is definitely not going to be enough. We need all of this double chest to be filled up. I have a lot of glass smelting actually as we speak. Anyway, let's start and build our first layer of glass. With this first layer of glass in place, this gives us space to walk around and start working on the roof of this giant room. Now, instead of going with a good old stone roof, just plain and boring, I want to mix it up a little bit and make it feel like we are in a cave. And this, I think, will go really well with the fog effect that you guys will see come along in this video as we put on more and more glass layers. Now let's start by opening up this roof and shaping the stone into a cave-like shape. And there we go, guys. We are starting to bring the cave feeling into this giant chunk and making it feel like it's a little bit less square. You can also see I've added the second layer of glass, and the fog effect is starting to be more noticeable. Anyway, I've added also some greenery which hides the light, and this really brings an ambiance to this cave. I'm going to be doing this with the rest of this cave. This side of the cave is going to require a little bit more work because there is a lot of dirt and different block variations. And then over here on this side, we will have our storage system. Now I'm thinking a wall of chests, and then the items are going to come down from the magma blocks, which are located at the bottom here. You can see some rails, and there's the same on the other side. This is going to come up some dropper elevators, or maybe water. Actually, I might use water. That might be the best. And then it's gonna go into these chests, and we're gonna collect all of those yummy slime balls. Now, taking a break from building out that cave, let's head down and work on the only little bit of redstone for this farm, which is the item collection and the item elevator to bring the items back up to the storage system. And as you can see, we already have slime balls lining up by the hundreds right here. Anyway, the way the redstone works is very simple. Right here we have our minecarts going back and forth, and then they will eventually reach this unloading station. This is where they will unload all of their slime balls into this hopper line right here. This then leads into this dropper, and this dropper is just hooked up to a simple little clock. So as you can see, if I put, for example, 64 slime balls, the dropper will start spitting them out into a water tube. There's a tube going all the way up to the sorting system and bringing all the little slime balls up, and this is done using the soul sand and water source straight. So let's actually head up and take a look at the slime balls coming up the chute. And then over here we have our little slime balls going crazy and floating on top of this water, and as you can see we got 64 slime balls back, so this system is 100% lossless. So now, back down here, let's now build the second item collection system and item elevator to bring all of the items from this side up to the storage system as well. For the storage system, I have gone with a very classic design using some water flowing over hoppers and putting the items in their respective chests. So as you can see, we've already collected a lot of slime balls, and this is just from maybe half an hour of standing around. What will make this farm even more productive is once we light up all the caves around this area, and I tell you, there's some big caves around here. It feels like we are in 1.17 already. I found some humongous caves, especially in this area, and there's just ravines everywhere. And trust me, ravines are the worst to light up. Getting up on top of the little ledges is a pain in the butt. Anyway, I've gone around here and I've also put in some ores, and as you can see, I've added these like little veins. So we have some iron veins and then some lapis veins, and then also some coal over here. And I think this general cave is nearing completion. I'm starting to like it. I was thinking about adding maybe some minecarts going on back and forth on tracks, especially in this foggy area. So definitely let me know in the comments what you think of that idea. Anyway, without further ado, let's now go up to the surface and start working on our exterior build for this farm and how we're going to access it, because currently this stair right here that we have going up into the iron farm is definitely not going to cut it. I have now cleared the island and started to flatten it a little bit, and this is definitely something we will be doing more of in the future, because having all of that big and tall landscape like you see over there is great, but the problem is that it's hard to build huge buildings like that on top of this very mountainous terrain. So that's why I think flattening it out a little bit like this is the best option, while still leaving some cliffs and overhangs. Anyway, as you can see, I have marked out the area where our giant slime farm exterior will go. Now, instead of doing a regular building like that, I was scouring the internet for inspiration, and this is definitely something that I recommend you do when doing a build. The internet is a great place to get inspiration for your builds, and there's nothing bad about getting inspiration from other people. Anyway, I found a design on there which I really liked. It involved building a giant slime out of lime stained glass, and then surrounding it by like rock to make it seem like the slime is coming out of the ground. And this is what I think we will be doing today. So let me first of all get the base of the slime built at the right height, and then we will come back and talk about what blocks we're going to be using to surround it. Now, for the choice of blocks, we're going to keep it simple while adding some texture. That is why I have chosen some stone, which is going to be our base block, and then we're going to be adding some variation using cobblestone and andesite. I think these three blocks are very complementary of each other. And then finally, to add a little bit of detail and to make it seem like the giant slime that we will have over here is oozing out of the ground, we will be adding some slime blocks to make it seem like I said, the slime is oozing out of the ground. So let's now get into a third-person time lapse and get this time lapse rolling.
There it is, guys. Now, I did record 2 time lapses, one where I built the slime, which you just saw, and the other one where I did some landscaping. Unfortunately, that file got corrupted. So, I will be doing a little tour showing you what I did, but you guys will have to feast your eyes on some aerial shots which I will provide as I speak. Now, first of all, we built this giant slime which appears to be coming out of the ground. And it's standing on this like pedestal of stone, and I mixed in some andesite and cobblestone. I also added some half slabs to bring in more smaller variation in terrain. And then I finally added some slime blocks oozing out and spilling all over the ground. Then I did some landscaping. So you can see I built this first custom tree, which is a tiny one, and there will be bigger ones in the background, and I think having that smaller one in the front will make it so the bigger ones in the back are more visible. I added some lighting using these lanterns right here. Coming around the back, you can see I did not do too much because this land right here is going to get flattened and removed, so I did not want to do too much terraforming. And then I will probably add another big tree right here, but most importantly, I added right here this branch, which appears to be growing out of the side of the rock formation, and I think this was a great idea to add character to this formation and tie it into the landscape. Finally, the last thing I did is the way up and down to and from the storage system. So this is the way down. There are some magma blocks bringing the player down to the cave which we built before, and I made use of these glass panes to make it discreet and not have a giant pillar in the middle of the cave. And I think having the blocks just appearing to be floating in the fog is just amazing. And then finally I did the second one right here, which brings you up to the surface, and this will be our way of accessing the farm. Now, one of the things I did think about was bringing the storage system underneath the slime because there is a hollow space in the middle, but unfortunately I decided not to. Anyway, guys, unfortunately this is all I've got time for today. I need to finish editing this video and get it out for you guys later today. This episode was a bit shorter, but I had quite a hectic week, and doing studies on YouTube is not the easiest at times, so that is why this episode is going to be shorter. Stay tuned for an announcement which will be coming probably next week or the week after that, and that will be probably to tell you guys that live streams are going to be starting. That's right. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I wish you all a very happy rest of the day wherever you are in the world. And on that note, I will see you guys next week for our next episode where we will probably be going into the end. Anyway, thank you guys for watching and have a good one. Bye bye.